You get up, you get out of bed, and all of a sudden you're working with the kids, and whatever it is, you are off and running, you are on the treadmill of life. It will not slow down for you. A lot's going to be coming at you. You can use this stuff to be able to settle into the moment, settle into this session, to realize, okay, what matters right now? But we love speed. So before we can talk about slowing down, I think first sometimes we just have to admit that, we're kind of addicted to speed. So I'll be the one to step forward and I'll say, I'm Sean. I'm a speedaholic. Hey, I see some of my people out here. But slowing down, really diving into the moments, that's what allows us to actually perform at a higher level, but also to find more meaning, to find more enjoyment. So I was having all these thoughts, and I thought, you know what? How many of those thoughts actually relate to this moment? Like, how many of those thoughts really matter right now? Like, if you think the stuff that you were thinking about, when we started the session, I'm betting you were thinking of stuff that happened in the past. Maybe a conversation you had that didn't go the way you wanted. Somebody said something that kind of rubbed you the wrong way. Or maybe you said something that you wish you would have said something different. We have thoughts like that. Maybe it's thoughts of stuff that's coming up. It's probably thoughts of clients, of bills you need to write, things you need to do back in the office that you're missing out on right now. All these thoughts. But if we scan through those thoughts, how many of them actually have an impact right now? If we know this is reality, then wouldn't it be better if we could learn how to strengthen ourselves and really learn how to thrive in the waves? Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. So in other words, we got life. Something happens over here. It could be a big life event, or it could be just one of those little surprises that comes up during the day. It's the slide that you didn't expect. But so you've got something happens, and then over here, we're going to choose how we get to respond to it. What are we going to do with this? But in this space is where we can process and think, okay, based on my goals, my values, my priorities, whatever it is, you kind of run everything through this lens, and you figure out, okay, what is the right thing right now? What do I do with this? So we had a snow day, and he's home, and I'm thinking, okay, it is what it is while it is, right? I'm the moment guy. We're going to make this work. I'm going to have my hands open, and we're going to make this work. So I get Brody set up on the couch to watch TV because I'm that good of a parent. But I'm like, I got to find a way to get through this day. So I get him set up on the couch to watch TV. And then I go in my office because I got this marketing project to work on. And I sit down to work on that, and it's beautiful. It's magic. I figured it out. I did it. That was for a minute. Then I get a call from one of my colleagues who just closed a deal, and he calls me and he says, hey, Sean, can you do the contract real fast? The client's going out of the office in 2 hours. So now all of a sudden, okay, well, I got to do that. That's a priority? Sure, I'm on it. So I get set up here. I'm going to do the contract. Then I get a call from somebody else with questions about something. So, okay, wait, let me do that. Take the call. Got that settled. Back to the contract. Okay, so I'm going to get focused. What was I doing? Yeah, contract. So I sit down. Then all of a sudden I hear from the couch, Dad, I'm going poop. Because there we are. So I'm like, all right, buddy, awesome. What was I doing? Contract. So back to the contract. Then I hear, Dad, I'm done. And you ever have a day where it just feels like you're dealing with stuff all day? You ever have one of those days? We're giving everybody 2%, 5%, 10% of our attention, which is of ourselves. Or we can give it focus. We can be focused, we can be zeroed in and give this laser focus. Where then, that's what gives us an opportunity to get in flow. We box it up, we set everything aside. We can be focused. And it's when we're focused, that's when we have an opportunity to give somebody, give our projects, all of our strengths, our talents, our expertise. It's through our focus. And how many of you can think of a moment, let's talk about your business for a minute. How many of you can think of a moment where you were with a client, and in that moment you know that that's where that person became your client? Either you said something, you did something, that is where, I see hands going up. Again, that's the power of a moment. How many of you can think of a moment where somebody said something to you that felt really good, it inspired you, it encouraged you, it uplifted you, and that moment, let's think of a moment that was maybe more than a year ago, But you can still think of that and it still brings some kind of light to you today. Can anybody think of a moment like that? Yeah, see, our words matter. The moments matter. But here's the thing about those kind of moments, by the way. I bet if you went to the other person and you asked them, and you told them about that moment, like, hey, you said this thing to me. Remember when you said that? That meant a lot to me. I bet they would say, wow, I don't remember that at all. Because that's the thing. Sometimes we are givers of the moment. Sometimes we're the recipient of the moment. But if you look at your life right now, I mean, really, take a look. Think about where you are now. How far have you come from where you started? Maybe you're not where you want to be, but how far are you from where you started? There's a reason to celebrate, and let's not leave here without celebrating here. Okay, so stand up one more time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start celebrating now, and you guys can keep celebrating throughout this event. So what I want you to do, put your right index finger in the air. Bring it down to your chest. And now, on the count of three, we're going to turn to somebody next to you. On the count of three, I want you to think about how far you've come so you can say this with sincerity and say, I am amazing. All right? All right, look back at that person and say, yes, you are. All right. Now give somebody a high five and have a seat. Thank you. But what this is, it's not just about showing up for the moments. If you actually implement this, if you practice this, what it brings is resilience. Because life is going to throw us some curveballs. That's what it does. Life has some really amazing things, but then there are also some challenges, some really difficult things. And I believe resilience is the #1 skill that entrepreneurs, small business owners, small business professionals, really anyone, if you want to achieve any level of success in your life, I believe resilience is the #1 skill. Because if all we did was come in here and we get fired up and motivated and ready to conquer the world, and then we go outside and we hit a brick wall and get knocked down, it doesn't serve us. How many of you would say whatever you've been through that you are glad to be where you are today in life? Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been through some really difficult stuff over the last 6 years, over the last year, the last 6 months. But you know what? I wouldn't trade where I am for anything. So it's about being able to be present, to show up, to flow through the moments, to allow grace. And you know what? It doesn't matter what happened in the last moment. It doesn't matter what you did. Because guess what? A new moment starts right now. This moment. You are here now. And the question is, just like that mosaic, the question is, okay, here you are now in this moment. What will you do with this one? And I believe even more importantly, when I started this journey, I was focused on what will you do in this one. I believe an even more important question is, who will you be in this moment? Who will you be in this moment? But the past, it doesn't matter unless you live there. This moment is new. This moment is an opportunity to turn it all around. Whatever it is that you're aiming for, the grand mosaic, in the end, it's going to be a masterpiece. If you don't like where it is right now, this moment is an opportunity to turn it all around. This moment matters. Thank you, guys.